I want to talk a little bit about the UK print press because there is an acquisition deal that I think is going to polarise a lot of people, and it involves the newspaper. Um, this is a report via The Guardian, and I'm not going to read out the whole thing, but just the basics. So the Daily Mail owner, yes, you heard that right, the Daily Mail owner has bought the for 49.6 million. And the subheadline reads: The owner of the Daily Mail has bought the newspaper and website for 49.6 million as a new wave of media consolidation hits the UK national and regional newspaper market. Daily Mail in general trusts the MGT, which owns the Mail on Sunday and Mail Online, had been the frontrunner to seal a deal after entering exclusive talks with the I's parent JPI Media in September. Lord Rothermere, the chairman of the MGT, said that he would not seek to influence the politically independent editorial style of the or shift it in the direction of the right-wing position the Mail title told. We are committed to preserving its distinctive high quality and politically independent editorial style, he said. It is a highly respected publication with a loyal and engaged readership. Um, well, that's what he says, but whether or not he sticks to that is really the question. I have to say that recently the Daily Mail itself had an editorial change, and it was taken over by a pro-Remain editor, and that hasn't necessarily changed the Eurosceptic stance of the Daily Mail. Now, the editor of the himself, who's one of the youngest national editors in the country, Oliver Duff, has said, and I quote, "I will be an independent editorial operation like other brands at DMG Media, which include the Daily Mail and Mail on Sunday, which fought on opposing sides of the Brexit campaign, plus socially liberal and politically neutral Metro." So here's my take. Media is business. These sort of acquisitions happen quite often. Takeovers and business deals and so on. But when it comes to the print press, we have some of the most influential print press in the world. The British read newspapers, even now in this digital age, more than most other countries. I believe the United States, India, Japan, or some other countries that have a big print news media sector. But for example, compared to France or Germany, the British print media is very influential. Not as influential, perhaps, as 10 years ago, because it's now going more and more online. And if you look at the circulation figures for all the nationals, they've all reduced in the last decade. But that's not necessarily from a lack of popularity, it's just that they've now switched to online formats. Um, Looking at the British print media national titles, there is definitely the balance is definitely tipped towards the right. So let me just break it down very broadly speaking. On the right, there is the Daily Telegraph, the Times. The Times is centre right, but still to the right. The Daily Mail, the Daily Express, the Sun. And the Daily Mail and the Sun are the two biggest. Well, I think Metro's just surpassed the Sun, but still, cumulatively, the circulation figures really dominate. Um, the Evening Standard, all conservative right wing titles, some more to the right, but they're all to the right. Um, on the left, there is The Guardian, The Independent, The Mirror, and The Eye, or at least The Eye was there. The Metro is somewhat neutral, and The Scotsman is somewhat neutral. Um, but the balance definitely tips towards the right when it comes to the print media. And so that's why this acquisition needs to be. I can see why readers would be polarized by this and concerned by it. I mean, Lord Rothermere can say, oh, he's going to respect the editorial stance, but time will tell. It may well be that that is the case. I really hope it is, because although I don't agree with all the left wing positions, for example, I sometimes find myself getting pretty worked up by some of Ian Burrell's columns. You know, he's loony left as far as I'm concerned, and so is a number of the positions that the comes out with. I don't agree with their stances, for example, on crime or some of the feminist positions that they have. So there's areas where I don't particularly like their editorial stance. But here's what I'm driving at: there needs to be a balance in the market, a left-right balance that is healthy. I wouldn't want a situation which dominated by the left either. And it may be that there's other areas where the left does dominate. News media. The thing about the BBC, if you ask a Corbyn supporter, they would say it's extremely biased against Corbyn and it's a right wing organisation. But you ask the Tories, they'll say it's a left wing organisation. So the BBC kind of gets pilloried by both sides. Sky News is more to the right. Um, Channel 4 more to the left. So I would say broadcast media is a bit more of a 50-50 dynamic. Overall, the British media, it's hard to say. But you'd really need to get analytical and weigh it all out. I think it's probably 50-50 overall. Nevertheless, it's not just about that balance, it's also about the fact that I is a unique brand, and I readers don't want the sort of editorial style that the Daily Mail has. Now, I don't think that the I is going to become Daily Mail-esque overnight, but over time you could see a gradual shift. It may even be that I agree with some of that shift in terms of my personal opinion, but the point here is about that balance overall. And I do think it's concerning if the print media gets so dominated by the right that there's, I mean, what is on the left? The Guardian, The Independent. I haven't bought The Independent for a while, but certainly The Guardian, the Morning Star, but it's not a massive circulation, the Daily Mirror. And that's really it. Yes, there's magazines like New Statesman that would be definitely well to the left, but that's a whole different market. So, because they're quarterly and monthly and weekly, they're not comparable to newspapers. So, yeah, I think Lord Rothermere and Oliver Duff need to be very aware that, I mean, just looking at opinions from readers is, it hasn't went down well. People have expressed their dismay. We'll see what happens. It may well be the changes are not massive and Rothermere sticks to his word, but I don't particularly trust him. Time will tell. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think the British media sways to the left or to the right? I think the print media definitely sways to the right. Broadcast media, not so sure. Online social media possibly has a left wing balance or a left wing bias, even because Facebook and other big social media platforms have been accused of bias against conservative groups. That may be true. So I guess it depends on what medium you look at. Let me know your thoughts.